Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! Background: I like crystals, not for any spiritual reason, but just because they are beautiful. And every year there is this crystal/jewelry and fossil show a few hours away that posts displays and sells merchandise. So I tend to spend a lot of money once a year, like a second Christmas. I don't spend large on literally anything else, so I splurge a lot. My boyfriend always goes with me. Carrying around a couple grand worth of crystals is unsafe alone, and he's generally into mating. He's a 6'9" redhead guy with a thick Russian accent and yoked, to the point that it's visible through clothes. For story's sake, Riv. This year's show had a huge tanzanite crystal, high quality too, around 2k USD. After buying this massive thing, we meet back up at the cafe to discuss our purchases. I go to the bathroom and leave it with me. I trust him more with it than I do myself. He asks if he can check out my stuff and I agree. Unknown to me, he has no idea what it's worth. He's not nearly into crystals as I am. Riv is staring at a showpiece openly in his hands, holding it up into the light, in front of a good 50 to 60 people around. Probably dumbfounded why someone was manhandling it. I get back a few minutes later and he notices me and places it on the table. My stomach drops as it wobbles and nearly falls off the small table. He stops it from doing so and asks what it is. Before I can go on a slightly angry rant about its worth, a little kid starts crying, a little taller than a table. He notices the tanzanite and reaches for it. Like the kid-loving dude he is, he offers a compromise. He can touch, no hold. Looking at me, I drag in a breath and agree. What could possibly go wrong? It's just a kid. Riv cheers up the kid and asks where his mom is. Where is mom? The kid panics again, not being able to see his mom, and cries. Riv hands me the tanzanite and consoles the kid, reassuring him that his mom was coming. He stops crying again and we start packing up our stuff to go to the main entrance where they could intercom for lost kids. As I'm packing it on the top of my other bull crab, aggressive stomp stop right in front of my face. Why is my kid with you? I can hear her cow chew her gum as she speaks. Your kid? Riv asks. Yes, he's my kid. She prolongs her words as if he can't understand her. Mommy! The entitled kid runs from Riv to his mom. Lady, where were you? Unlike Riv, I'm not as nice and a lot more blunt. Leaving your kid alone is a massive issue with me. Checking out some crystals. You don't have to be so rude, missy. She waves her finger in my face and I back up a little and she smirks. Mommy, he had a pretty rock. Can I have it, please? He begs. Bring it out. She tells Riv. What? I ask. The crystal. I thought agents were smart. I guess not. She laughs, looking at me. I'm dumbfounded. The first time someone was ever this blatantly racist to me. Is it that one, honey? She asks, pointing to the tanzanite in a clear case on top of the bag. He eagerly nods. Looks expensive. I'll give you $50 for it. No thanks, mate. Not open to giving it away. I tag on. Why not? Doesn't the happiness of a child matter in your culture too? Or do you all start working them at my kid's age? I blink, completely amazed at this switch. Ma'am, it is not for sale. And not at that price. What? 75 then? You're just scamming me if I pay you any more. Lady, this was a lot more than 75. It was a little over 2 grand. Like heck I'm selling under. Don't swear in front of my baby. Right here is when I decided that this is going on Reddit. Show me and I'll gladly pay you. I grab the clear casing and open it, taking out the credit card receipt and showing her the bill. Like an idiot, I hold the actual crystal low enough for the entitled kid to snatch and sprint away. His mom realizes and goes to make a break for it. Thank God for Riv. The lady caught mid-air sags down in her own clothing. I am calling the police. I'll sue you all. Then you'll wish you just sold that crystal to me. She's still dangling in the air, slowly losing her macho. By this point, the kid realizes his mom isn't next to him and turns around and slowly approaches us. She drops her self-righteous attitude.
He's just a kid. You can't seriously punish a little kid for wanting a toy. In fact, you should apologize to both of us for denying us happiness. You'll both be terrible parents if you can't even help out a kid that isn't yours.
She uses the most bullcrap reasons I have ever heard, not even trying to justify herself. The entitled kid reaches the both of us, walking up to his mom. I yank out the tanzanite from his hands and cast it really fast, putting it into Riv's inside jacket pocket. The entitled kid starts bawling his eyes out. She screams again, and this time security comes. We explain the situation and Riv drops her on her feet. She kicks him hard in the leg, and Riv doesn't take it to heart. They call the cops and ask if we wanna file a complaint. The entitled kid and his mom interrupt our answers, yelling about how terrible we were as human beings, denying a child happiness, and the both of us should go back to our country, but we end up pressing charges. Since I'm positively tested on corona and I have to be quarantined, I'd like to share a story from a few years ago just to pass the time. Note that the things that were said are all roughly translated from Japanese unless otherwise stated. I'm originally from the Netherlands, but I moved to Japan 18 years ago, and all I can say, Japan is a really nice place if you know where to find work. I don't look Japanese, but I'm well-mannered. Follow Japanese traditions and etiquettes well, and I took the surname of my Japanese wife. Since my surname is unpronounceable in Japanese, and I don't want to bother my wife, my kids, and the Japanese people with an unpronounceable name, so basically I'm as Japanese as a foreigner can be, I guess. Tough, I still do some Dutch things together with others, like baking oil bowls during New Year and treat my step peppernoten on certain holidays. So after I had a business meeting in Tokyo, and after that was concluded, I decided to eat some ramen at a local ramen shop. I just like the more low-key food stands. It was a small-scale ramen shop which had a note, "No foreigners allowed." You see these things more than you think on these smaller shops and stands, but in most cases, the owners put these posters on the stand because the owners can't speak English. So a lot of time if you speak Japanese, you're allowed. I went in anyway since I kinda know the owner and it was empty with only one other guy sitting there. I greeted the owner and ordered my bowl of ramen when the entitled Japanese salesman in a snappy voice said, "Excuse me, but what is this gaijin doing here in this shop?" Gaijin is a foul word for foreigner. I say, I'm just ordering a bowl of ramen. They are the best in town. "I'm not talking to you, filth." He says that in Japanese. I was asking the shop owner, "You had a note on your door stating you do not allow foreigners." At this point, I started to secretly film this. I wasn't sure that if things would go out of hand, the shop owner would be on my side. And the Japanese police tends to believe natives before foreigners here. I don't know if filming is even allowed, but hey, proof is proof. I can hear what you say. I speak Japanese too, you know?
Shut up, you filth. Do you know how important I am? I work at a great Japanese department store office, and I work as a salesman there. Every day I make sure people get what they need. I'm responsible for 18 million people to get goods. Something you can never do.
Okay, in a manner like One Punch Man. The shop owner says, "Please calm down. I have no problem with people who speak Japanese. I just can't deal with foreigners who can't speak Japanese during rush hours. They sadly lose me money."
A foreigner is a foreigner. It doesn't matter if an Neanderthal knows how to speak our beautiful language. He's still a gaijin.
Well, I'm actually a Japanese citizen. I relinquished my Dutch citizenship years ago to become a Japanese citizen. I'm Japanese now, if you like it or not.
You're not Japanese and you will never be. Our race will stay clean.
At this point, I decided to stop being polite and just troll him. "Oh, I have a Japanese wife, you know? I have 7 kids. I actually have 2, but whatever. My oldest daughter is president of the Archer Club. This was true, but I can't remember if she was at the time this happened. And my third son wanted to become a monk. That was a lie. I don't even have a son anyway.
You filthy foreigners steal all of our wives. It's your fault I don't have a wife and family.
I laugh hysterically.
Maybe because you're a jerk?
Excuse me, you rude gaijin. What? Never hard to take the truth. You know how I got her? By being polite, being supportive and letting her live the life she wants. Jerks like you only tell women to stay home, take care of the children, and shut up.
This is what I mean. You gaijins disgrace our traditions.
Are you serious now?
What? It is the role of women to birth children and stay at home. You Americans taught our women otherwise, and now we have a low birth rate.
Funny, I don't remember the Netherlands being in the US, but I can speak like an American redneck if you want.
America, Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, it doesn't matter. You whites destroy everything beautiful in this country.
Me in Yank voice,
I ain't know, but you gotta relax.
Hey, ever shot a cold python before?
The best gun you can shoot,
tough at a distance of 12 gallons, I prefer a Deagle. Recently bought an MP15 with scope, great to use against enemies of the free world.
Shut up!
You're going to see the Super Bowl tonight, jerk. I have 10 inches of Diet Coke and 6 feet of McDonald's. Hey, did you know that my NASCAR drove 200,000 yards and our president gave me the Medal of Patriotic Freedom? I don't know, I was just using random American terms at this point.
You gaijins should be all gassed to death. You should all be collected and go in a gas chamber. Your bones will be used to strengthen our road, and we will exterminate all filth in our country.
Honestly, I was shocked. I didn't expect him to be this extreme. I just hoped he would walk out like the loser he was. Oh well, this guy wanted to fight, but I honestly didn't want to. The shop owner at this point was calling the cops and removed his "No foreigners allowed" sign, cause it's technically illegal. But somehow we didn't throw punches. He was still shouting racist things, and he still acted entitled. But the cops came in and of course, he tells him,
"I was assaulted by that man. Arrest him, please."
Luckily, the shop owner vouched for me and the cops took him away. But not without that cherry on top. When the cops asked his name, he said his name, but the funny thing is, I have the same surname as him. And not only that, my wife's surname is kinda a historical name derived from samurai. So when I heard his name, I said, "Oh hey, my name is also my surname." This is when the guy flipped even more, and he said racist things again and wished me again in the gas chamber. But in his rage, he somehow forgot there was actual police next to him. So yeah, this guy was taken to the police office and got a fine. Later I heard he was fired from his job. Out of gratitude for helping me out, and I guess as an apology for letting this thing get out of hand, I translated the shop's owner menu into English and suggested some sort of system that if foreigners order stuff, it will go smoothly. Nowadays, a shop owner makes a small extra buck thanks to it. Oh well, all's well ends well, right? Though do note some things are rough to translate, and it happened 3 years ago. So I might have missed some details and some things might sounded weird and unbelievable. Edit. Well, I guess this got popular for my first post. Well, thanks for the support, guys, but also thanks for the criticism. Some of the criticism helped me to remember a few details about his whole thing, and for that, I am honestly grateful. I worked for a manufacturing company operating hot foil printing machines. For the first 6 months, everything went smoothly. I was working two machines like most of my other co-workers. Working hours were 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. was an hour lunch break. Although nearly all of us came in early to set the machines up and left late after cleaning up the machines at the end of a run, usually 15 to 30 minutes extra per day. The owner then decided he wanted to retire and sold half of the company to a larger firm with the intention of staying on another year before selling the other half. The new company insisted on all workers, not office staff, clocking in and out as well as increasing the workload by pushing production goals. The machine they used to clock everyone in and out was the cheapest they could find and nobody knew how to set it up. So it shifted the cards into the right place to print the time. So times would often be printed on top of one another, or out time would be printed on the ink column and so on. Big headache for the office worker trying to sort out the mess from 30 plus workers each week. To start, everyone carried on as normal, clocking in when they arrived and clocking out when they left. A week in and everyone on the production floor is called into the office. There will be no unarranged overtime being paid and everyone must clock in and out at the right time. That was a message from the new boss. 15 minutes of downtime just to tell us that? Okay then. We would all arrive at our usual times and start to queue up waiting for the clock to tick over to 8 AM. Then everyone would punch in. Took around 4 minutes for everyone to use this one machine. If a run wouldn't be completed before clocking out at lunch, it wouldn't get started. So around 11:45, the production floor started to get quieter. At 11:55, it was almost silent while everyone queued to clock out for lunch at 12. 12:55, everyone queued up again to clock in at 1 p.m. 4:45 p.m. would bring in another quietening. A week later, we all got called into the office again. Some people were not putting in their full hours. They were clocking in a few minutes late and or clocking out a few minutes early each day. And this was not acceptable for the new boss. Also, we had to make sure the cards were printed in the correct position, so it was easier for the office worker who dealt with the wages to calculate our times. No mention of fixing the clock machine. So we diligently set about making sure the cards were printed correctly. End the queue and clock in at 8:03. Okay, clock out at 12:03. After 3 months, production was so far behind that they had to start asking workers to come in on weekends to clear the backlog of orders that were waiting. Pay at time and a half for the first 4 hours, then time and 3/4 for any hours over that. Nice for those that could do it. A month later, and the new boss was losing so much money, they had to make cutbacks. How? By getting rid of workers and no overtime. So now they not only couldn't complete the orders, but were asking the remaining workers to work harder and run more machines. I heard from one that wasn't made redundant about 6 months later that the company folded the months after that as workers quit due to unrealistic pressure, and they were so far behind on orders that the customers dropped them as a contractor. The owner never did get to sell the remaining half and retire as planned.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.